Alrighty here, ladies and gentlemen. We're back today with another Friday the 13th review. This time around, we're going to be talking about part 3. But before we dive on into that, as you can see on screen, my rankings there at the bottom ended up changing. I ended up going with moving the original down. I think I was just trying to be a little, loyal to the first one. But after watching the second and third, I thought about it and I'm like, this is a lot slower paced than I like. And personally, I enjoyed the second one better than the first, so I don't know why I didn't rank it there right away. But and then I put the third one above the first as well. Again, it was a whole pacing thing. I didn't want to put the third one above it because I didn't really care for the cast and of the group of friends there and that one as much as the others, but I felt the need to because the pacing was a lot better than the first. The first one was just kind of slow, so it might drop a little bit here in my rankings. I'm big on pacing within these movies, so I don't know if that causes any controversy, but anyways, we'll get on into the third one. The third one here takes place with a new group of friends, basically like every other movie so far. We see them going up to a farmhouse around the Crystal Lake area. It's not like directly linked to it, but it is around it. The main character there, I believe her name is Chris, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry, I'm losing track of names. Ends up encountering Jason at one point without a mask, just with his deformed face and everything. Not really knowing who he was. She felt like she was attacked by him and felt the need to share that like midway through the movie, but she didn't like start off the movie by saying why that was. So it was a little confusing right away for me to figure out who she was because they didn't do anything with the survivor of the last one. They just highlighted it at the start of the movie, and then it just kind of threw me off track having Chris here in the mix and not really explaining why she was involved until midway through the movie. But once it got midway through, it made more sense, which um, made it a lot easier to know why. But aside from that, we see a few different friends here within the movie. We see Chuck and gosh, what's the other lady's name? I forget her name. But there's a few others here within this movie that end up having like I would say a really minor role. I think the one I liked the most was Shelly. I thought he was pretty funny, and I thought it was a nice little comic relief there within the movie. But he's also addicted to like that horror type thrill and trying to have people like him. And I personally liked his character a lot. I wish he would have had more screen time, but he wasn't like the main character. And then these movies, if you're not the main character, you're only getting screen time for a little backstory of their character, and then you ended up dying at some point. Well, that ends up being the case for him. He ends up getting sliced across the neck there. Everyone thought he was joking. When I say everyone, one of the other female stars here within the movie. I can't think of her name right now. I don't know why, but she ends up thinking that he's just putting on a show when realistically he's not. So we see a lot happening here within these sequences of battles between Jason and all the main characters. He ends up taking a little bit of a beating from a few, but in the end he takes a few of them out. But then right towards the end of the movie, and this was like the biggest shock to me, I think they meant to end the series here, is we see the likes of Chris killing Jason. And that's the end of his like human life in a sense, if I'm not mistaken. He ends up taking an axe to the head, and I'm pretty sure he's dead if I remember correctly. I actually haven't seen past the fourth movie, so I don't know if that's the case or not. I don't even remember if I've seen the fourth movie yet. So, um, regardless, when I do watch it tonight, at least I'll have a little bit of a briefing of it. But we end up seeing them take an axe to the head, and then Chris kind of hallucinating at the end, thinking that he's still alive, chasing her. After like laying in the boat and a few other things, so she seemed kind of like cuckoo at the end, but it makes sense on why she would be, just due to the fact that she had to deal with the whole Jason situation. But um, the pacing of this movie was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I thought for some reason from the first time I watched it, I thought it was a little bit slower, but it was actually pretty good outside of like the first like 20 to 30 minutes. But compared to the first one, I definitely think the pacing was a little bit better. We saw the kills coming across, and you get the iconic hockey mask, so like that kind of upped it for me. Nothing against the first one, but having his mom as the killer kind of just sways away from the whole Jason feel of things. The second one kind of got there a little bit. I just thought the pacing and crew of characters was a lot better in that one, or else I probably would have this third one above it. If I don't know, if they didn't go the whole biker gang route, it probably would have been a little bit better for me. Maybe if they just included like a few more friends in the group rather than going that Viking route, it probably would have been a little bit better. But it was tough for me to put these two movies above the original because usually I'm pretty loyal to the original films. As you guys could tell, they're within the Scream one. The original there for me was the best, and then a few other series that when we get to those, the original will be the best. So I had to, put my pride aside for the original and, you know, accurately rank this to how I enjoyed them. And so far, did enjoy the second and third one better than the first, just again, mainly due to the pacing. But if you guys have any comments about my ranking so far, feel free to leave your comments in the comment section below. I'll read them. I'll respond too. We can have a nice little, friendly debate. Nothing toxic or anything like that. Obviously, I just won't respond if it gets toxic. But um, I'll have a friendly debate. I love hearing people's opinions. Seeing kind of why they would rank movies where, because then I'll actually go back and rewatch them. And if you point out something really valid, then I'm like, oh my god, that might sway me otherwise. And if you guys do that as I'm ranking these, I will go back and watch said movie again and re-rank them as I'm ranking the movies currently. So feel free to comment at any point. If you guys have any suggestions for future franchises or movies to watch, make sure to comment that as well. If you guys would, ever be so grateful and help me out with my Amazon wish list. There's a few movies on there I want to watch. Usually a lot of them are cringe on there. Super cheap. It's just something on the side in case I don't have the budget and you guys are enjoying the reviews basically. But for now, I'm going to sign on off. Appreciate you guys. Check out the TikTok, Sinister Horror Time, and we'll see you next time.